Ho, 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 ho. Thanks for checking out Radio.co on YouTube. If you want to see more kit reviews, live webinars, and handy broadcasting tips, then give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and click the bell icon. Ho, 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 ho. Hello, my name is Phil from Radio.co, and welcome to this rather festive webinar all about how you can get prepared to launch your imminent internet radio station in 2023. Because, yes, folks, the end of the year is nigh. In this special, lovely Christmas edition, I've got a couple of Christmas-themed props surrounding me. I've first of all got a stack of presents, which for the start is going to be kind of like a prop, a decorative part to stand next to me, but it also contains boxes of kit that you may want to invest in, whether that's a last minute Christmas present or something to put your Christmas spends or your New Year's resolutions towards. So I'll be opening them throughout, so that'll be nice and exciting. And if you can see, I've also got a set of Christmas themed rubber duckies in my attempt at a debatable segue into getting your ducks in a row. Yeah, I'm that sort of person. So yeah, we're going to be talking about all things, as I say, getting prepared for your internet radio station, covering things such as equipment, software to use, frequently asked questions about, licensing or presenting style or expectations even. And I'll also be covering a couple of questions that you have submitted as well. So thank you very much for those of you who have submitted questions to me. I won't have time to go through all of them, so if there is anything that I haven't covered at all, then you can always get in touch via studio@radio.co is your direct link to me, or you can also comment in the boxes below wherever you're watching this. Speaking of, if you are watching us on YouTube, then why not hit the subscribe button, click the bell icon and give us a like, and obviously any more videos that we do going into 2023, such as this remarkable display, you'll be the first to check it out. Speaking of actually going back to the questions, I did say I'm not going to be able to have time to answer all of them. However, that's kind of a bit of a lie. I've incorporated some of the most frequently asked questions into my rubber ducky section. So even though I might not address your specific question, I'm sure the topic you want to discuss will be broken down. So yeah, as I say, with Christmas right around the corner, you may first of all have some thoughts, particularly if you're someone like my dad who's absolutely got no idea what he wants for Christmas, and it's been the case throughout my entire life. So maybe if you were someone like my dad and you need someone to tell you what you might like for Christmas, then this first section of this webinar might be useful for you. I've got 3 stacks of presents here. I'm going to open them up. It's going to be no doubt excruciatingly to hear through my microphone, but I'm going to open up the presents, and each of them contain a little bit of equipment that you may want to recommend and add to your list to Father Christmas. They range in prices, so our first box is obviously cheaper than the second, which is then cheaper than the third box. And it's just to give you an idea on the sort of kit that you may want to invest in to begin with, the things you may want to splash out immediately, or the things you may want to grow into. So it's totally up to you. And included in this will be a short little demonstration of how Radio.co fits into all of this, and as I say, covering lots of the important questions that you may be thinking of rather than thinking towards your Christmas dinner or mistletoe and things like that. Replace those thoughts with things to do with broadcasting, because I'm a nerd. So the first thing I'm going to cover, as I say, is equipment. So one of the most frequently asked questions I get asked when people are thinking about launching their own internet radio stations kind of boils down to the naivety or the unsure nature of, I've got absolutely no clue on how to go about internet radio, so what do I need? I know our Radio.co platform and those behind it, we do say that our platform is pretty much what you can expect to see from a traditional radio station from a technical standpoint, but not necessarily all the kit that goes with it. So as I say, each of these presents that I'm going to open contains different levels, if you will, of equipment, from a basic entry to a growing station to a full-blown let's rock and roll with the best stuff we can get. So first present here of Father Christmas. Sounds pretty clunky, as I'm sure all of these presents will, and the flimsy boxes that have been placed. So this is your beginner's mode. So if you're thinking of, for the very first time, I want to launch an internet radio station, what on earth do I need? So this equipment, this present here, we'll find out exactly what it entails. Okay, well, contrary to what it says on the box, no, this is not a gift box full of hot chocolate. It's a conveniently sized box to place these two items inside. So I'd say this is your entry level box right here. So I would say the contents of this might range from somewhere between, about £100, $100 to maybe 120, 150 pounds and dollars. And it's just your basic level entry get into internet radio, which I always recommend. Is you need an average powered computer, you need an internet connection, and at the very least, you just want a USB powered microphone, such as this one. This one in particular is the NT-USB Mini from Rode. It's a couple of years old now, but they have recently released a Rode X branded one as well, which you can get as well, offering something slightly different and a little more high spec than this one. But this is a fantastic little portable microphone that even comes with its own magnetic stand here. And this is a fantastic microphone to use. As I say, it's not only got a stand, so you don't need to invest in anything else. It's USB-C powered, and it's a fantastic little condenser microphone from Rode. We're always quite big on Rode products, and we like to get a lot of stuff to review, and generally they are very consistent company. And the reason I mention that is because, again, one of the questions people always ask when it comes to equipment is, comes down to the confusion of there being so much available. And, there are certain brands that we always go to and always recommend in terms of, as I say, they're consistent, they're reliable, they're fantastic and good value for money. And Rode is probably number one up there, as is such companies as Shure, Logitech, and some of those pieces of kit are going to be involved in these other boxes. But for now, the Rode NT-USB Mini retails for around about $100, $120, of course, depending on where it is you're getting it from. And I always say that's a good price point for getting a microphone. Of course, it's still £100, $100 is still a rather big investment for something that you're not entirely sure whether it's the right thing for you. But there's no point spending so much time creating fantastic content, particularly if you're a talk station and the microphone you're using is awful. People will turn off if you're just difficult to listen to. I'm sure we've listened to a lot of podcasts, even some of the most popular ones on earth sound like they were recorded in a bathroom, and that's not necessarily going to be the case if you invest in a good microphone. So say 100 is a good benchmark for a good piece of kit, and the Rode NT-USB retails for roughly about that much. Now the other piece of kit you might need is just a simple pair of headphones. These are a wired pair from just a brand. The reason why I didn't pick anything too notable is because for starting out, you don't need anything that is necessarily notable when it comes to headphones. Something that is just comfortable, plugs directly into your microphone so you can monitor it. These ones fit over my ears. They are nice and comfortable, and these were about £20, $20 or something, very, very basic headphones. That's all you need. So yes, that's why I'd say £120, $120, $150 or so is a good benchmark for starting out with equipment, as we can see here. So yeah, if this is what you want, if you're looking for a little present from Santa and it's a little budgeted, then yeah, USB microphone, pair of headphones, good enough to get you started. Next piece of equipment, I've already realised I'm going to viciously run out of space. But this is a present number 2, and I would say this is your intermediary, your advanced, your growing station. It may be something that you grow into after the starter pack, or again, if you want a really comfortable, strong start, you may just want to invest in this. So again, we're going to open it. I must say it's remarkably well wrapped. And again, in another box that we found lying around that perfectly fits what we needed to. And in this, I would say the contents of this particular box, sorry to keep with the theme, is probably around maybe between £300 and £500, which again, of course, is a huge jump from the 100 benchmark I mentioned there. But this is just because there's a bit more kit involved, and when you're getting a bit more professional, a bit more advanced, of course, things do begin to add up. So what we got in here first of all, right at the top, we have our headphones. which again, we're going more of a branded route. So we've now got the Rode NTH100 pair of headphones. I did a great review of these. Again, they are incredibly comfortable. They're not the cheapest headphones in the market, and in fact, I'd probably say that headphones inside the more expensive kit is probably cheaper. But these are still a great pair of headphones that work for everyday use as well. So you're getting multiple use out of it. So NTH100 headphones. We've also got the microphone, of course, which is the Logitech Blue Sonar. And I'd go on the record and say this is probably my favourite microphone of this year. In fact, it's definitely my favourite microphone that I've reviewed this year and probably in recent years. This is a fantastic microphone. It's XLR powered, unlike the USB microphone we're using there. So, of course, as we know, it's what you should be familiar with is anything that's XLR powered needs to be plugged into another piece of equipment in order for it to work. So, hence why this is a bit more expensive. But this is a fantastic microphone. I'd say it's obviously not quite on par to my preferred microphone, which, spoiler alert, is in this box. But this is a fantastic microphone that really took the market by storm. It looks pretty. It's got some fantastic presets involved in it. It's great versatility in regards to how it can be mounted onto a stand. But yeah, this is a fantastic sounding microphone, and it's got a really, really great sort of preamp built into it as well, which will help in a lot of cases if you do get cheaper end mixing desks and audio interfaces. So yeah, we've got the Blue Sonar microphone, which again probably retails for probably around about $300, I'd say. We've also got, of course, the correct cable to power it, an XLR cable. These are incredibly cheap, maybe $5 for something like that. But the reason why this probably pushes it to something a bit more expensive is the audio interface in particular that I have chosen. This is the Vocaster 2 by Focusrite. Now, Focusrite are probably most well known, or if you've heard of the name, it's probably due to their Scarlett 2i2 audio interface. And that's been on the market for, I think, at least a decade or so, and it's a fantastic little audio interface that does the job. It's got some great sort of preamps built into it. It's great, it's easy to use, it comes with free software to use alongside it, but it's been a very staple part of a podcaster's front room, studio, broadcasting hub. And this, the Vocaster 2 was released this year, and it's kind of surpassed it in pretty much every way. It's a much sleeker, nicer looking design. It's made from recycled plastic, if I recall. Of course, you can still plug in 2 microphone ports into this, but it's just kind of an updated version. So instead of just a lot of knobs and sort of metal buttons, a lot of just nice to the touch soft buttons where you can instantly mute someone. You can add in some auto gain. You can also change some presets built into the sounds of the microphone. But the reason why I chose this rather than stuck with the Focusrite is because of the Bluetooth functionality, which is probably one of the most popular, overused features these days, particularly for podcasters or radio shows that want to involve remote guests or co-hosts, or they want to play content through a mobile phone or a tablet. So I think if you do spend the extra bit of money on getting the Vocaster 2 or even the Vocaster Solo, I think it's called, which is just has 1 microphone slot opposed to this one having 2, but you can connect a mobile device to it, and it will open up a lot more possibilities for the way that you connect with people and the content that you're broadcasting. So I guess this one is kind of Vocaster 2 / Scarlett 2i2. If you know you're not going to be using Bluetooth, then go for the older but still incredibly well received Scarlett Focusrite 2i2. Or if you want to be a bit more future proof and make this last a lot longer and have a bit more versatility to it, the Vocaster 2 series, or the Vocaster series in general by Focusrite, is a fantastic option. But of course, it does add up. I'd say, yeah, this is, upon reflection, probably a good £500, £700 at least. But that's your advanced box. It may be something you want to grow into eventually. Otherwise, this is a fantastic bundle of kit, which, unlike what I did with the first box before I viciously threw it on the floor, I'm going to nicely pack this away and try not to drop it. It's a Christmas miracle. Speaking of Christmas miracles, how am I going to open and store this one nicely? This is your advanced, your expert box. Not necessarily because of how complicated this piece of kit might use. These are all widely used kits, but of course it just comes down to budget. What's your budget? So we've got entry level 100, let's say, advanced 5 to 700. This is altogether probably about £1,500, let's say $1,500 or so within this box. So let's crack it open and see what you may want to grow into or go whole hog on right away. I've made the first error. The box is upside down. Oh, easy does it. Excellent. Here we go again. Okay, so what have we got in this rather awkwardly set destroying box here? So first of all, similar sort of things as you can expect. We have got a pair of headphones. These ones, again, are probably cheaper now than the Rode NT H100s. But these are your Beyerdynamic DT770 Pros. And these are probably still a studio favourite. They're the headphones that we use a lot in the office here. They're the headphones I use at home for my broadcasting. And you still probably will find these scattered throughout the world in many studios. And, they've been there for several decades and probably will be for several decades more. So, these DT770 Pros by Beyerdynamic, fantastic pair of very comfortable headphones. You've also got something extra, is a boom arm. I forget the exact name of this one, but again, this one's by Rode. And again, this is just a great way of making your broadcasting a little more hands-free, whereas that one came with of course, a stand. The Logitech Blue Sonar would need something like a stand or a boom arm, so this isn't just applicable to this box alone. But this one in particular, it's a fantastic, very easy to use. It's a lot better than the original boom arm that Rode, I want to say the PSA 1, that might be called. But this is the sequel to it, and this is a fantastic boom arm, which I hope doesn't open and take the tree down. We'll see. So a boom arm, so again, that's probably looking at about 100. Again, maybe 100 plus for these pair of headphones. You've, of course, got your XLR cable. Again, cheap as chips. About 5 for that. The microphone of choice that I've picked, of course, no surprise, it's my favourite microphone and the favourite microphone of many a broadcaster for a lot of years, and no doubt a lot of years to come. This is the Shure SM7B. Retails, again, probably around to $300 to $400. Again, it's annoying to say dollars and pounds, but you get the idea. It's probably running for about 400, 500 or so. It's a fantastic microphone. It's a microphone of choice. I feel it expertly complements my voice, and I wouldn't use any other microphone when I'm doing my shows other than this. So, heartily recommend, and again, thousands and thousands of people all over the world would heartily recommend this. So that's why I've chosen that. And then, of course, no surprise, the desk of choice, just due to the magic word of the day, the versatility of it, is the Rode the Rodecaster Pro 2. So we use this an awful lot in our shows, and our webinars, and our videos. And this is just, I'd say it's more of an advanced level piece of kit, mainly due to it doing an excessive amount of things. So, of course, it's like your standard desk or interface, the fact that you can plug several microphones into it, 4 in this case, all lights up in lots of pretty colours. But it's not just a desk, it's a console as well, so that's why it's capable of doing a lot of things inside. It's like a tiny computer in a way. So you can record content directly onto it. You can digitally alter the sounds, any preamps, any gain, any sounds. Obviously music, it's got Bluetooth capabilities. So this is probably a bit of a that's spoiling yourself kind of thing. There are plenty of fantastic desks and interfaces that do the exact same job as this. This just does it in a little more of a sleeker, prettier. There's a lot more going on than you necessarily need to use, but that's why it's go on, spoil yourself with the Rodecaster Pro 2, or indeed the predecessor Rodecaster Pro, the original. These are expensive. Again, these probably retail for about $700 or so alone. So again, adding up to this is probably about $1,500. But yeah, so this is kind of the idea that you may want to purchase with a bigger budget, or if you're like me and I'm spending X amount of money on something, what's an extra X amount to get something that's arguably a little better and a little more future-proof. So again, this was released this year. Fantastic piece of kit, highly recommended. And yeah, again, you may not necessarily need it right from the off, but it's nice to dream, or it's nice to really splash out sometimes. So if you've been a very, very good boy or girl, for this year, and you want something spoilt for Christmas, there we go, Rodecaster Pro 2, short SM7B, and you're pretty much ready to rock and roll. The case is sold separately, I believe, but it's a nice little treat as well. So that's kind of it for pieces of kit, really. I just wanted to try and tie in the Christmas theme for this webinar, really, by having presents. Of course, we all like opening presents, but it's just to give you an idea on the different brackets of kit that you can have. You could very well be a veteran broadcaster looking to go out on their own, and you may just see the only need for the starter kit. That's absolutely fine. You may be a complete newcomer. Internet radio has never crossed your mind until today, but you want to splash out on the big guns. Do whatever you feel is best for your comfort, your budget, of course, space. Fortunately, internet radio doesn't require much more kit than this, so even a box room like I have can comfortably accommodate it. But yeah, this is just to give you a little idea on the different realms of kit that you may need to use. So take what you will, put it on your Amazon wish list, write the letter to Santa and get it posted, because there are, especially in the UK, a lot of postal strikes at the moment. Get all this information to Santa, and yeah, happy broadcasting with some of this kit. So you've written or amended your letter to Santa, and now you're just staring out the window across the festive snow, watching the snow fall from the skies, the little red-breasted robins flying into your garden, thinking about whimsical times and magical journeys you and your family may take into 2023. I mean, that's great, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but maybe you should spend some of that time thinking about your radio station. There are certain things that you may crop up and spring to mind that you'll want to consider. You can't just honestly expect to launch an internet radio station and bam, you've got lots of listeners, everything's all ready and in order, because that's crazy. So what I'm going to do is go through a couple of frequently asked questions, kind of, but also just areas that always crop up, or there may be words and things that you've heard of, but you don't quite understand exactly what they relate to. So hence my wonderfully festive little rubber duckies. And the idea of these is, again, in an attempt at doing a gag, doing a bit, is I'm going to get all my ducks in a row. The idea is, once I've addressed all these ducks and lined them up beautifully on the front of this table, then I feel I'm in a better position to launch my radio station in the new year. So yeah, they all cover a certain aspect. As I say, it may be a word you've heard of, it may be a popular question people spring to mind, but they're all things that are worth considering. Not all of them may be relevant to you, but that's fine. If the particular point is not relevant to you, that's it. You've got your duck in a row, it's fine. And only, as I say, once you've got all your ducks in a row, you've thought about all of these points, then yes, you'll be in a much better position to turn your station on air and just start broadcasting in the best, simplest, and most successful way possible. So the first point we're going to make is the first ducky. I'll take the Santa closest to me here. So ducky number one, software. Don't know if you can see that. So software, so relating to that, you've got your equipment, you've plugged it into your computer, but how on earth do you then actually broadcast? Well, you need a software platform, or to be more specific, you need a radio hosting platform to actually carry your live audio or pre-recorded audio and carry it over the internet. And that's where Radio.co comes from. I'm sure that's not news to you. Following our channel and our website, maybe you're a current broadcaster with us, you know what we're all about. But what I'm still going to do is just give a very, very, very brief overview of the basics of using Radio.co, really. So, I'm not going to cover many of the features, really. It's just showing you how quick and easy you can get started, but also to give you an idea on what software is needed for radio. So, so I'm just turning onto my screen now. And what you should be able to see here in particular is your Radio.co dashboard. This is just showing you, what your station is doing. Most importantly, at the bottom, it's showing you I've got content playing. So I'll show you how to upload some of that in a minute. I'll say a minute, in a matter of seconds. So I'm going to click on the Add Media button here at the top. and you just want to upload some files. Now, they could be pretty much anything you like as long as they're MP3, so it could be music you want to play, it could be interviews you've done. If you're a podcaster and you're thinking of a new avenue or a new way of broadcasting, upload podcasts, upload anything you like, essentially. Just, it has to be an MP3 file. So select them from your computer, and when you've uploaded them, you'll find them in the media tab of your account. Now, Radio.co is a cloud-based platform, so all it needs is an internet connection. You don't need to download or install anything to use it. You just log in anywhere in the world. As long as you've got an internet connection, you can find it. And that goes the same with your content as well. I've uploaded about 2,500 tracks here, and they're available wherever I am. So I've uploaded my media. So it's all sitting here. There are labels you can assign, which are called tags. They just help keep tracks into folders, really. So I've got a chilled folder, I've got a podcast folder, I've got adverts, heavy metal even. And some of the things that I will gloss over here, such as tags, you can find individual tutorial videos about how to actually use them and how they actually work and why you should use them within our help centre at help.radio.co, or by heading to our Radio.co University via the link at the bottom of any of our web pages. But you've uploaded your content, perfect, and you want to build it into a playlist. Nice and simple. So everything on Radio.co is playlist based. So, there's no cap on how many playlists you can build. They can be as long or as short as you want. It's totally up to you. All you're doing is telling the software simply what you want it to play. So I've got a pretty generic breakfast show, I've got a podcast show, an R&B show, I've also got a default playlist here. That's actually one that we will give you, and the reason we're doing that is this is like an auto DJ playlist, so you can place all of your tracks in there. You could upload a dozen tracks to begin with, pop them all in your default playlist, and these will actually fade in and start playing automatically when there's a gap in your schedule. Because something I may fail to mention at the start is, by default, it's a 24/7 platform. So you can just, leave your schedule blank as often as you want, and this playlist will just fade it in automatically. It's really, really cool. So to build your own playlist, come to the top here where it says New Playlist. I'll call this one Christmas Music, obviously. I'm going to give it a colour, like so. I'm going to click on Add. And it then takes me to my playlist builder, so I can see the name of my show. The duration, of course, is 0 because I've yet to add any tracks to it. And this is opening out on all the media I've uploaded, so there's a combination of all sorts here. So I can just click on the plus button and there you go, Bob's your uncle. It is all jumping into my playlist. Don't worry, there may be a question that sprung to mind about music and the rights to use music. I'll go into that later. But for now, add in whatever you want to play, change the order of all of your tracks. They will all naturally fade in and fade out of each other as well. There's a crossfade that you can apply. But here we go. That's how simple it is to build a playlist. You can have the software build one at random for you, through the default playlist or through our tagging system. Or if there are specific tracks in a specific order you want, perfect. Place them in a specific order on your playlist as such. And that's kind of it, really. I can just click on Save. And what we'll see is our finished playlist here. It's 52 minutes long in particular. And I'm going to click on Schedule. And what you'll be able to see here is my schedule, or your schedule rather, for your radio station. Now, as I said, any gaps in the playlist, or in the gaps in the schedule, I should say, are automatically filled by that default playlist. So that's what's happening here between midnight and 6. It's what's happening here every afternoon here. And you could leave your schedule blank 24/7 if you really wanted to. But in this particular example, I'm going to create a playlist, as I've done, and I'm going to schedule it. Simply click the time you want it to start, drag it to the time you want it to finish. So I'll do a show tomorrow, 12 till 2. I'm going to click 12, and I'm going to drag it down to 2, just like that. And what you should be able to see here is, it starts at 12, it lasts for 2 hours, and it therefore finishes at 2. Perfect, that's what I wanted. Now, what days of the week do I want it scheduled for? At the moment, I've got it scheduled just for Thursday, but I can schedule it to go on out on any day I like. So Friday, Tuesday, Sunday, all things like that. So it will schedule it across multiple days, so you don't need to keep coming in every day and scheduling the same show. And the same applies for a weekly basis. So again, if you knew this was going to be on air on all of these days for the next 3 months, 6 months, 2 years even. Pick a random date within that time frame and it will schedule it up until that point. And then the final thing you decide is via the Advanced tab here, and you just select what type of show this is going to be. So is it going to be a playlist? Playlist being, of course, I want to play a playlist I've built. So I click on playlist. I choose that playlist from this drop-down menu here, which in this example is going to be Christmas music. Woo! And this means I'm going to play the Christmas music playlist 12 till 2 on these days for every week up until 5th of April. Yeah, that sounds great. Click create, give it a couple of seconds, and there we go. That's a playlist schedule that's going to automatically fade in at 12, automatically fade out at 2, all on its own because it's cloud-based. So you don't need your computer on, you don't need to press anything, it will just do it all on its own. And if you're doing a live show, of course you've bought that kit, those like the Rodecaster Pro 2, you want to put it to good use and go live, then schedule a live show just by simply coming here, event type, clicking live DJ, and selecting the specific host for that show. You can invite people onto your account to give them the remote access. So in this case, I will select me, Phil, or Nick, as you know. There you go, Nick, Saint Nick. Here we go. So Saint Nick's getting ready for a show. You have the ability, one of our features is the ability to record a live show, maybe convert it into a podcast at a later date. But yeah, if you want to go live, all you do is select the host you want to go live, and as long as you trust them, as long as they're reliable to log in remotely and go live at that time, they absolutely will. They can choose whatever piece of equipment they want to use and go live pretty much, at the start of their show. And I'm just editing this event in particular here. It would display, let's say, a live show. So 12 till 2, live DJ, Saint Nick. And we've also got a backup playlist that will play in the event of anything going wrong. So again, it's all cloud-based. If your internet connection or your power fails you during a show, don't worry, this backup playlist will kick in anytime it needs to. And then the final thing over the basics is how do people listen? Of course, that's the most important thing. Click on the Listen tab, and there are a couple of options right out of the box. First of all, there is just a simple URL for your station. It's just a streaming link that's unique to your station. It's automatically generated for you. And you can share this with people. You can email it to people, post it on Facebook, something like that. But basically, as long as your station is on air, which to do so, just a click of the button here. Anyone who clicks on that, it just opens up a browser tab on their computer or their smartphone, and it streams your station. Very, very, very simple. You can submit that URL to a number of internet radio directories, like Streamer, for example. We've got a list of about 40 or so you can submit to. All of them kind of give your station, I guess, a bit more accessibility, a bit more global availability per se. So submit your station link to those, and people can go to those platforms to listen to it. If you have a website, whether that's now or in the future, you can build a web player. And this will display artwork related to what tracks or shows you're playing. Artwork, like I said, track information, show information. You could have a picture of you doing a show, or just the branding for your station. This is something that's just a bit more visually appealing, and of course it keeps people focused on your brand, your radio station, and people can go there to listen to your station, your personal domain name. We can also build mobile apps for you, an Alexa skill, a Google Home action. If you want to check out what those look like and the costs involved in doing those, again, you'll find all those sorts of answers on our website, Radio.co. So as I say, go to help.radio.co if you want a bit more in-depth information about what Radio.co does. I know that's a bit of a whirlwind crash course, I do say so myself, but it's covering the basics. You could actually get started as quickly as that. Just upload a couple of tracks through the media button, upload it, put them all in that default playlist, turn your station on air, and away you go. People can click on that link or that player, and from anywhere in the world with an internet connection, listen to your station. And that's how simple software needs to be, especially with Radio.co. So if you are interested in giving that a go, or at least, I guess, in the early stages of your station, taking out one of our 7-day free trial, go to our website, Radio.co, go to the pricing tab, decide which plan you want to test out, and give it a whirl. So, duck number 1, software, in a row. Next duck number 2, hosts. And now this kind of relates more to, I guess, presenting style, or do you want the station to be hosted just by yourself? Is it just going to be a one-person band, let's say? Or are you going to get other people involved? Are these hosts going to be doing pre-recorded program for you, or are they going to go live? And if they are live, is it going to be in a studio, maybe that they have, or with you, or is it going to be remotely? These are all just things that you should consider. There's no need to go out and hire and band together a crew of DJs for your station. It's perfectly fine just going on your own. After all, a radio is no doubt a passion project for you, whether that's a passion that you have to personally play your favorite music and appeal to your community, or maybe you're on behalf of a brand and you want to use radio to help engage with your team or your customers maybe. Just have a think about, how many people may want to be involved, how you're going to go about getting those hosts, what sort of music are you necessarily going to play, or topics are you going to talk about. So yeah, it's just worth thinking about, and the programming side, is it going to be a live show? Is it going to be pre-recorded? Because through Radio.co, you can do both. You can go live, you can pre-record as much as you like, and your DJs can do the same. They can go live from their locations, or they can create pre-recorded shows and just send them to you for you to play. So just have a think about people getting involved with your station and the sort of content that you or they may want to play and how you might want to manage that team. So very much probably one of the last things you need to consider, but still worth considering when it comes down to what theme or what service your station is going to provide. Next little duck, shows. Nicely kind of relates to our DJs then. So what shows are you going to be putting together? Or again, are they going to be specialist shows? Is it going to be a generic kind of music show? Is you going to be playing your favourite content? If it's a talk show, of course, is it going to be something that's broadcasting temporarily? Like, are you just using it like a live podcast in a way? Is it going to be one live show a week and that's it? One show a day? Are you getting other people involved to talk about different topics? Or, it's all, again, comes down to, I guess, probably more of an early thought when it comes to radio. Is, you're launching a station, great if you want to play a bit of music, but is it going to be just a smorgasbord of lots of different genres of music? Is it going to be purely yours? Are you going to be doing, a traditional breakfast show appealing to people, a drive time show? You're going to have specialist content playing? And if that's the case, where's your content coming from? Is it content that you're creating? Is it going to be music that you are purchasing and finding? So shows kind of comes down to one of the a buzzword that's going to kind of make a repeat in another one of these is a service. Is your radio station a service to people, or is it purely a way of escapism? Are you telling people to listen to your station because you're playing your favourite music, or it's music that you think they'll enjoy? Or is it a service? Is it going to be appealing to a community, whether that's local or a community all over the world? Just think about what sort of shows, themes, appeal each of them might have, because again, it's great building a radio station dedicated to your favourite music, but is your music appropriate for where you want to take it? Is your station niche? Is it pretty generic? It's all things just worth thinking about when it comes to the bigger picture of growing your station and making it more and making it appeal to as many people as possible. Or is it just a passion project that you want to launch and you really couldn't care any less about how many people listen to it? You've got a blank canvas here with your online radio station, and that includes shows about what you want to cover and how you want to cover it. Next little ducky. Licensing, again, comes down to music that I've talked about already, and again, probably one of the most popular things I do get asked other than a piece of equipment. Licensing, do I need it? Now, that's only something you can generally answer yourself, but as a general rule of thumb, licensing is needed if you plan to play any copyrighted material on your station. If that's the case, then having a license is something that is strongly recommended. Now, from our perspective, we don't enforce licensing, but we do heavily recommend it just to make sure that you are broadcasting in the legal right way. You've got the thumbs up to pretty much play whatever you want, and that's what a license will generally provide. Now, unfortunately, with licensing, it's quite a convoluted area, and some of the information that you need, even from the people that supply it, can be as clear as mud sometimes, and that's because there are so many different variables involved. Generally, you want a license issued from an organisation based in the country your station is based in. So if I was launching a radio station here from Manchester in the UK, I would obviously need to speak to an organisation based in the UK, and that organisation will have their own costs involved. They'll have their own regulations. My license may only permit me to broadcast within my home country, or there may be a few elsewhere that does allow people to listen to it as well. So there's so many different variables, and it can almost be kind of like a bespoke service. I mean, not quite, but some of the quotes involved in licensing can boil down to: what are you playing? How popular do you think your station's going to be? Are you earning a revenue on your station? If so, how much do you envision? What artists are you going to be playing? How often are you going to be broadcasting? So many questions like that can only be answered by you, really. So it feels like a bit of a cop-out answer, because it's information I can't really give out, because having not dealing with it personally, I couldn't accurately say categorically the costs and the regulations involved. But again, if you want some more information about licensing, we have it available on our website, or if you just type in on our blog, or even Google it, Radio.co licensing. There's a great article there with links to the organisations from a lot of countries from all over the world. If your country isn't listed on there, first of all, I am sorry, and just get in touch, and we'll see what we can do to help. But yeah, if you are going to play music on your station that you do not own, a licensing is strongly recommended, and it can range anywhere from $200 up to thousands of dollars. Again, ultimately depends on how big and on what you're intending to do with your station. If you are a talk-based station, there's no need for a license. If you are playing music that you own, like you specifically have written, there's no need for a license. And if you want to broadcast royalty-free music, you don't need a license to play them. You may need a license to purchase them, but not to necessarily broadcast them. As soon as you play at least one track on your station, a license is something that we strongly recommend looking into. So it's up to you about whether you want to do it. So it's worth looking into, because it can take a while to get the answers that you need and get the license ultimately sorted. So it's better just to investigate sooner rather than later. Another ducky. Promoting, probably again more on the back end, but it's still worth thinking about right now, is how am I going to go about promoting my station, and what routes am I going to take to hopefully grow my station? Now, with internet radio, the great thing about it that is obviously far, far superior than terrestrial radio is it's so much more widely available. You're not confined to a radio in your home or a radio in your car. You can listen on a mobile phone, and a computer, smart speaker. There's so much more possibilities for people to find your station. It's wonderful. So because of that, you can really go all out in finding new ways of attracting your audiences through these digital means, whether it is through social media, through listing your station on a number of internet radio directories, by building a website for your station, by having a mobile app, smart speakers. There's so many different ways, because internet radio is so accessible, and it's so easy to manage for listeners and for you to actually create. Now, the advice I always give when it comes to promoting your station, it's kind of based on a couple of things, really. It's you want to make, I say it's the trick really to it, even though it's still not a surefire way of guaranteeing listeners, but you want to make your station as widely available as possible, as easy to access as possible, as efficient to listen to, and most importantly, it needs to be easy for you to direct people to. It's great listing your station on 500 different radio directories, but you don't need to list every single directory that you're listed on, nor do you really need to list more than 3, I'd say. So you really want to signpost your station as much as possible, but make it easy for you to direct people to. So as an example, I've launched my station and I have a website for it. I also happen to have an app for it, and I'm also listed on a couple of popular directories. So when I call to action and I want people to begin listening to my station, and I'm writing a Facebook post about it, I want to say, listen to my radio station, Radio.co. Go to our website here to listen, download our app on iOS and Android, or head to Streamer or tune in to listen to it. That's the most that you need to give in one sort of command or call to action, as it's called. You don't want to overwhelm people with too many avenues, because people will find the most efficient ways for them. So, if they are finding out about your internet radio station from their mobile phone, which they are most likely definitely going to be doing, they're on social media, it's on Facebook, and they found a post about your station. If you're telling them on that post or on your Facebook page for your station that there's an app they can download, they are more likely to download it because they are on their phones anyway. If I'm looking at it, great, there's an app, great. Fair enough, it requires a bit more time, a few more clicks to find the app, download it, get it working, rather than going to a website and clicking a button and it works. People are just far more likely to download an app and use an app because we've all been wired that way over the last several years. So it seems a bit more natural to just integrate more and more things into our mobile devices. So if you have an app available, which you can build through us, it just increases the accessibility and the efficiency of listening, and it's a great way for you to signpost your station. Likewise, smart speaker skills, radio directories. Pick maybe 3 that are the most popular directories, or the ones that you feel are better tailored to your audience or the topics of your station. And of course, if you've got a website, great, it's all about your personal brand. Shout about it, direct people to your personal web domain and they will visit your website. And it keeps people firmly housed within your brand. So it's not so much guidance on the best ways of promoting, like what sort of content you want to promote. I mean, ideally you want to promote things that are quick, short and just easy to there's no point asking people to share and read through a massive comment about something. Just what's your favorite album? What's your thoughts on this piece of artwork? How do you feel about the local elections? Things like that. You want people, a very small question, something that's easy to share and easy to hook people in. But you want to make your station as widely available as possible and as easy to access. So that's tricks with promoting. Community kind of falls into the promoting. It's more of a decision. And again, surprisingly, a popular question I get is, do I need to launch a community station? And for that, what is a community radio station? Again, beauty of internet radio, it's a global platform. People from all over the world are going to listen to it. Doesn't necessarily mean everyone from everywhere on earth is going to listen to your station. And there's also nothing wrong with creating a station dedicated to your specific niche local community, and there's people halfway around the world listening to it. That's absolutely fine. Internet radio, because it's so accessible, it's so much easier to get people involved in the radio, because you're saying there's a new radio, you don't need to tune it in, you don't need to find a radio, just click on this link and you're listening to it. So if you're providing a community service, great, it's an easy way of people accessing radio, they can take it with them. But it's also about, are you providing a service in terms of, are you catering for your local community environment? So, are you covering local events? Are you providing local news? Are you playing music to help people get through their local days? Are you inviting people to get in touch, get involved with things? So it's just a great way of creating content. It can be, making your radio station community focused can be a great way of drumming up content for your station, such as there's a local event, why don't I go down there, make my presence felt? That kind of is a great way to get promoting as well involved, being involved somewhere, because internet radio, it's portable. So as long as you've got an internet connection, take your laptop with you, or use an app like EasyCast or Pocket Streamer that can work off an iPhone, and just go live from nothing but an iOS device, and that's it. You're present at an event, catering for that local community. But you absolutely don't have to create a community station. It can just be, as I say, a passion project, playing what you want. You don't matter who listens or how many people listen. You just want to be an awesome radio station, your dream radio station. But it's also worth thinking about, particularly in the long run, like potential monetization of your station. You can appeal to local businesses, charge them a small recurring fee for loyalty, and share that, create posts on Facebook, get people on Facebook to share all that content. And again, you're drumming up business for that local community, because the people who are sharing that content are people who are the demographic of that business. So monetization can be a great way of drumming up business if you're a community, local, focused station. Again, it can drum up, as I say, content about what's going on in the community. It can, if you're reporting local news and stuff, it gets people giving their impressions. And, it's particularly during the pandemic, obviously, which is obviously still ongoing, but particularly during the most extreme lockdown periods, there was such a huge outcry for community, or sticking with your community, being able to share information, checking in on loved ones, and radio and podcasting was a huge way that helped that cause. And so, it can just be that, checking in with your local community. So it's mainly just a question, are you going to be a community station or not? You don't have to be a community station. Now, it's a buzzword people like to use, but it can be a great way to bring longevity to your radio station if you are community and local focused, because it hones down on what you may want to cover and how you might be able to grow the station in the future. I'll do that one. Actually, this fits in well now. Launching. You've kind of got most of your ducks in a row. I'd say everything here with your equipment as well, that's kind of enough to think about launching. Now this prompt, this ducky, isn't specifically talking about now you're ready to launch. It's thinking about how you're going to launch. Piece of advice I always give is, you can't expect to launch a station overnight or, take out our free trial, go live, and that's it. I mean, you could. Our software is incredibly easy to do that, but what's it really going to get you if you don't plan ahead? I always think, pick a date in mind to launch your station. So, bit of a time check here. It's December 7th here, 2022. So if I would say I want to launch my station on February 1st, great. Scale that back maybe 2 or 4 weeks. So maybe 1st of January, let's say. That's the latest date you want to take out a Radio.co service, because it gives you a month to start uploading your content, building your shows, maybe getting your DJs initiated on the platform, really just getting everything comfortable and ready to rock and roll. But 2 weeks before your launch, you should do a soft launch as a way of helping you promote your station, going back to this previous ducky here. So what you want to do is create a playlist that's maybe an hour or 2 long. It could be longer, but it doesn't really need to be any longer than 2 hours. But contained in that playlist is just like a buffet that contains everything, a taste of everything that your station is going to be providing, such as, if it's a music station, what kind of music you're going to play. Play a variety of it. It doesn't have to be the full track, maybe just clips. The personalities involved, whether that's you as a host, or getting the idea of what topics you may want to cover, or the humour that may be behind it. They don't want to use it, but the banter potentially behind your station. Again, personalities and characters, if you've got lots of people involved, a little snippet so people can get an idea of what they're doing. If you're going to be covering news or talk topics, if so, put a clip, a taste, almost like a trailer of what you're going to be providing. And what that means is, when you're promoting your station, when you're asking people to listen to your station on February 1st, rather than saying why, to be blunt and a bit rude there, but why should I listen to your station? Or, you're not really telling me anything about it other than it's playing the greatest music on earth. But if you've got something, if you want to sample the greatest music on earth, here's a taste, here's a trailer, a show reel, if you say. So it's just a way, it means you've got something to actually promote. You've actually got, with radio, you can't give a flyer away to someone and they're going to go, great, I'm going to attend the launch of this internet radio station. I mean, it might be a way you want to launch a station, have a launch event. But, you want to give people a taste of what they can expect when they listen, because they're more likely to then listen to your station if they know, hey, this music that's in this little demo, great, that's kind of like my bag, I want to listen to that, great. Or those topics that they're talking about, I have a really strong opinion about it, or I don't have an opinion about it, but I enjoy listening to it, I'm going to tune in. It just means you are getting people hyped, but you've actually, you've got something almost physical to actually share with people, and that will increase the likelihood of people listening to your station when you've prepared your launch. So the Launch Duckies advice is, pick a date, scale it back maybe 4 weeks, and just use that time to build up a show reel, a highlight, a trailer for your station to make the launch day a bit more successful. And then the final one is probably ending on a bit of a dour note, but expectations. Always something people forget, and it's something that can be quite disappointing. Now, with launching anything, an internet radio station, a podcast, a YouTube channel, and a TV station, anything like that, it's going to take time and effort and money as well, of course, to actually begin to see any benefits from it. I mean, if this is purely a passion project, then the benefit of your radio station is launching a station and actually doing it. That's great. But if you want to grow this into something bigger, and you're looking at this at being, I want this to be my career, it's going to take time to actually bring that together. Or, I want to get thousands of listeners. Great, it's great to be ambitious, but you need to plan for the fact that it's going to take months, it could take years to actually get to a position where it is actually thriving. So it's just a bit of advice really about managing your expectations. you don't really want to cop out on your station under 6 months of its lifetime. I think giving yourself a 6 months target to see how it's going, only after 6 months time can you really look back and go, okay, I can see this going anywhere. And then of course 6 months later, first 6 months of your station's life, you can then begin, okay, well, I've not got so many listeners here, but maybe I can incorporate this for the next 6 months and the next 12 months maybe. So just manage your expectations. It's, you could be listening, you could be launching your station, you're putting a lot of time, effort, money into it, and you're getting a dozen people listening. Don't be disheartened on that. Think of the positives on that. Sure, it's not 1,200 people listening, but it's 12 people listening, and they're 12 people who are listening, they are loyal, they're dedicated to your station, and there are 12 people who weren't listening to your station prior to launch. Low listenership isn't something to be obsessed with. It's also nothing to be depressed at. It should be something to aim for, and you'll do that through promoting your station, being active on social media, getting your station out there as much as possible. But just give yourself at least 6 months before you can really critique and see how you might want to improve this, or is this the right move for me to make? It will absolutely be the right move that you can take. You've just got to give it time to bake, or put it in the proving drawer. I'm trying to come up with bake-off analogies, but essentially, just give it time to grow naturally. And once you've got that, that's all your ducks in a row. Hey, there we go. Quite a nice little festive segue there. So now, after considering all of this, my parcel containing my equipment has arrived. Excellent, and I'm now ready to rock and roll. And the last thing I wanted to cover quickly, I've covered most of it, is just a couple of outstanding questions that you did send to me. So thank you very much for those who did get in touch prior to this webinar with your questions. And what I'm going to do is go through them, because the majority of them, I think, questions that you may have related to these duckies anyway. But I'm just going to cover a couple more that were outstanding. Outstanding in terms of I didn't get around to them, not because they are the greatest questions on earth, however. I beg to differ, they might very well be. So question one comes from Delilah. I kind of touched on this a bit earlier, but is it possible to earn money from my internet radio station? It is, but it's going to be something that's going to take a little bit of time to do. You can set up affiliate links for your radio station, maybe. Anyone, if you want to use a local business, or discount codes for things, that's a way that people like to use. It can be a lucrative way if you've got products or services that are related to your audience, your community. You can put a paywall behind your station. Probably not as advised, really, and it's only as a last resort, but you can charge people a fee to access your station. But the most popular way, of course, is like advertising. Now, Radio.co, we don't have any involvement in advertising, so if you did go out and do it alone, you keep 100% of any revenue that you make, of course, which is fantastic. But you do have to seek out that business yourself, and if you're marketing yourself as a community station, again, that can be a task that can be a little easier if you are really immersed within the community, or it's people that it's businesses that you're aware of. So I'd say monetization can potentially be easier if it's a community station, but that'll be a case of creating ads, settling out business deals, charge low, and they'll be a bit more loyal to it. Don't charge someone £100 a spot, charge them maybe £20 a spot for several weeks, and they're more likely to keep returning. But absolutely, you can earn money. It's just going to be something that people may want to see months worth of listeners coming through. They may want to see some figures. It kind of boils down to all of that. But so again, 6 months time, maybe you want to consider then monetization when you have got a little bit of a fan base, or most importantly, what your audience want and expect. So yes, Delilah, absolutely. We have a free course. We actually have a paid course. If you go to our website, scroll down right to the bottom, we have a courses section, and we have one called Internet Radio Cash, and it's all about tried and tested ways to begin earning a revenue for your radio station. So if it is something you are serious about, it's about $100, I think, for the course. I strongly recommend checking it out. Jonas, are there any legal requirements needed before launching my station? I've covered one of them, really, which may or may not necessarily apply to you, which is the topic of licensing. So and that's a legal requirement, of course, or a legal thing to consider if you are broadcasting music. But other than that, internet radio is pretty lawless in the sense that there's no overarching authority figure looking over it like the FCC or Ofcom. It's all about the freedom to pretty much broadcast what you want within reason, of course. I know we have terms and conditions about what we would expect for behaviour-wise from those using our platform and content necessarily going through it. So you can find our terms and conditions again at the bottom of our webpage. But in terms of general radio, no, there's no legal requirements. There are things to be aware of if you are advertising, again relating to Delilah's question. There are some countries have restrictions on what you can and can't advertise. Like here in the UK, I think it still applies to internet radio, is anything related to smoking, tobacco, e-cigarettes, things like that, is you're not allowed to advertise them, or at least you did at one point. Again, you may get in trouble if you do advertise businesses for that when it's not allowed within your country or a country that you're broadcasting to. The other legalities really in terms of you, I'd say, if you are looking to really go all out and brand your station, you're putting a lot of time and effort and money in creating logos, custom domain names, lots of things to do with your brand, and there's a name that you want. You really want to make sure that you can legally use the name, of course. It's always worth just spending, it's kind of like, it's actually related to, I guess, one of these ducks is, if you've got a name for your station, spend a lot of time Googling it, going through pages and pages and pages, trawling through social media just to make sure no one has, already taken your name. If they have, it doesn't have to be an issue, but you can copyright and trademark the name. It can be awful spending so much time building a brand for your station only to be filed with a letter or an email or a phone call telling you you're not allowed to use it, and you have to then spend a lot more time, effort, money in rebranding. No one wants that. So have a look at maybe just legally, just making sure you are absolutely in the right to use any sort of branding that you want to use. Thank you once again for joining me. I do hope you have found it helpful. Apologies if I didn't get to answer any of your questions or address any of the concerns or elements that were bemusing you prior to this. But if there is anything that I haven't covered that you would like me to share a bit of light on, then please send me an email. That's through studio@radio.co. That will come directly to me and I will help as much as I possibly can. Or wherever you're watching this, please write in the comment box, again, questions, thoughts, if this has been helpful or not. Hopefully it has been. And of course, again, relating to our YouTube channel, please subscribe to our channel. Just click the bell icon, give us a like, subscribe. And it just means any videos that we do like this, you will find them as soon as possible. This webinar being at the end of the year may get a little lost, but it just means you have got the ability to recall on it anytime you need to. And we're always doing reviews, webinars like this, usually once a month, tutorials, everything to do with broadcasting. We feel like we're the experts on it, and our YouTube channel is the best place to just immerse yourself in all of that. But ultimately, happy broadcasting and have a very, very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year, especially if it's going to be filled with festive cheer and radio broadcasting. Ho, 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 ho. Take care. I'll see you soon. And just before you go, how would you like to launch your very own online radio station? Surprisingly, it's a lot simpler than you may think. And the absolute best way to get started is by chatting to myself or another member of the Radio.co team. To do that, just head to radio.co/demo to schedule a video call with us, where we'll discuss your plans, answer your questions, and of course, guide you around the Radio.co software.